Riders, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a comment, and then on your way out, hit that subscribe button for me. This is going to be a overview, kind of slash synopsis of the bomb that Cooksey and the Cooksey mob put on the whole Moto fam yesterday about the whole claiming a factory star racing Yamaha. Yes, you heard me, factory star 250F. It was Hayden Deegan's bike, and what kind of a shit show went down at Loretta. So make sure you watch the full video. Go to Cooksey Media, subscribe. He's got the sucker pinned at 9th gear tapped, and he's a true journalist. He's letting everybody know what is up. He's got a lot of good contacts, so make sure that you get some good information from him. Hold your horses. Disclaimer. We want to make sure that everybody knows that these are alleged facts of what happened down there. They shouldn't be taken as undeniable 100% factual. This is the perception of some individuals down there at the ranch, and we're going to debate, banter, talk about it.
And he does. He goes, makes the claim, has, apparently it was $17,500 or what he needed.
All right, I'm just going to stop it right there for a second, and we will move on. So, who is he talking about? Cooksey is talking about Brennan Schochfield, who finished 16th. Hayden Deegan finished 11th. And I believe this guy's got a 250C championship at Loretta's or some other amateur national. So power to him. And he decided to claim Deegan's factory bike, right? Quotations factory bike. That's what we're alleged thinking it was. And let's go into the rule book. This is page 38, section J, claiming, and this is under the AMA 2022 rulebook. All sanctioned motocross and youth meets are claiming meets. The claiming price shall be 30% over, 50% over for super mini manufacturer adjusted retail price. Kelly Blue Book, not a praise value. What is the praise value on this factory bike, right? Just the Monster Energy Yamaha Racing, not factory, but just stock. $9,000, right? So double that would be 18. Half of that, you're looking at 13.5, 14-ish. Back to the rule book. Any claim entering for a motorcycle written in an event, it can be happened no more than 30 minutes after the race. No additional time will be added. You need to have cash, certified check, or bank draft to accompany the claim. The owner of the claim motorcycle must immediately deliver it intact along with a clear title bill of sale, right? And so if this motorcycle is owned by Star Yamaha on rent or lease or just, hey, here you go, Deegan, so you can race it, it's a problem. Deegan doesn't have ownership of this motorcycle. This is how most of those factory bikes, they don't own the bikes. The team owns the bikes. In this situation, I doubt the Deegans own the motorcycle, so they can't really give something that's not theirs, That's issue number one. And so if there's more than one person that putting up money for the claim, they're going to go into a drawing by an AMA referee. AMA referee, not MX Sports referee. A rider may not claim their own equipment. If a rider refuses to give the motorcycle, he's going to forfeit the trophy and is disqualified from the meet and suspended for 1 year. That's really rough. That's some harsh rules. Okay, it could really be detrimental as far as public relations go to the Deegan family, saying that he got disqualified from Loretta, right? Because unfortunately, Deegan is a product. It is a business because of how big his following is. His YouTube alone is 1.1, okay? It's a business. It's a business. So they don't want any bad press to come their way. So I believe all of this has a lot to do with damage control. I don't believe Hayden Deegan actually did anything wrong because he's the product. So everybody out there, I want you to know that he is the product. He's the guy making the money. It's his name, all right? And he's a minor. So all this stuff is going to go to his father and the family. They're in control of what this young kid does. And so with all of this, I think here's a motorcycle, you race it, you go win on it, right? He's not thinking of any repercussions or anything of that nature. His job is just to go ride the motorcycle. And then he's got everyone else to back him up and to bail him out on when shit gets bad. And the spotlight is on him because of his following. But I will go in a little bit more detail why I think that this is kind of a bigger issue here. So we'll just to continue on, okay? I think I covered that.
Or 17,000 allegedly, somewhere around there. Well, Tim Cotter is an MX Sports official, not the AMA official. He is a promoter. He works for the promoter. He is not part of the rules body. He's not. Not at this race anyway. Maybe at some other races, but not at this one.
So what Cooksy's essentially saying there is he should have no influence on what is going on with the AMA rules because you need an AMA referee, not an MX Sports dude, okay? And he's working for MX Sports, not AMA.
Somehow, he gets this kid in a room by himself, interrogating him. Why are you doing this? What's your problem? Why would you do this to him? Whoa, 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 whoa. It's just...
All right, and that's a problem, right? If this is true, Brennan, where in the heck was your dad? Okay, you know, you should never have a minor alone in a room in a situation like this. You know, his crew, his team, his mechanic, his dad, I'm assuming his parents should have been in there as well, especially if they were the one coming up with the money to claim this motorcycle. They should have been privy to all of conversations pertaining to this situation, which that is a big no-no. That is a 1,000% big no-no. And this is the problem with the sport, is because you have so many minors in this sport, especially when they're going professional, okay, and they can get seriously injured, they are not of legal age to sign anything and to make executive decisions on stuff, again, because they are minors.
Bad look for him. It's a bad look for MX Sports. So, and guess who the only guy he lets in that room is? Brian Deegan. Yeah, allegedly he lets Brian Deegan in there. So Brian...
All right, and Brian is probably going to defend his son and his name and his business because of the whole damage control public relations of getting one of these motorcycles. And the issue, I guess looking back to this, if we're going, hey, if this was a factory bike, right? Quotations, factory star bike. I am just going to guess it's upwards of 50K. 50K to 100K. It's got some super trick shit on it. All right, some unobtainium stuff. That's why it costs so much. And if you could just 15 grand for this sucker and you're walking around, you could basically give it to other people. It would be bad. It would be really bad, especially if you don't own the motorcycle. So I believe Brian was in there for damage control. I don't think he did anything wrong. You know, he was probably invited to this to figure out what the situation was going on. But who else should have been involved in this? Brennan's dad should have been, or his mom, his parents, his guardians, adult that was there at the race with him should have been involved in these meetings.
But that should never, ever happen. So the AMA official breaks it up and says, no, you're welcome to do this.
So I believe
and
Cooksy's
the Metal
going
Militia
over.
General, Brian Deegan, comes in there and he's asking you and kind of talking to you after this crazy man, Tim.
So they're basically saying, hey, you don't want to do this. This isn't good. Behind closed doors, that isn't okay. And
that should never, ever happen. So the AMA official breaks it up and says, no, you're welcome to do this. You got the money. You did it exactly how you're supposed to according to the rule book. And then the issue was Hayden needed the bike. Hayden needed the bike for the schoolboy race the next day. Okay? No problem. They didn't have a proper impound set up, so they ended up taking it to one of the AMA officials' trailers and just putting it in the trailer, locking it up. They were going to give the bike back to Star 2 hours before, allegedly. They're going to give it back to Star 2 hours before the moto to get it ready. Allegedly, any parts they took off the bike are exchanged.
All right, so the official comes in, the guy that's in control of the referee. He's the guy that says, no, you can do this, and they take the bike, is what Cooksey is saying here.
Just do some stupid stuff. They would have penalized him. But the AMA did exactly what they should do. They locked the bike up. So this is all happening. So later on in the evening, Deegan's popular. Deegan's got a strong, strong contingent, as most of you guys know. Most of you guys are probably part of it. I'm a believer in the kid too. The kid's awesome, and they're great for the sport. They have so much. They were harassing this kid's camp, yelling at him, saying stuff. Keep in mind, it's dark. You're in the...
All right, so what Cooksy's going, I suggest everybody go watch this full video, and I'm just taking little tidbits of it, and I'm adding value to what I think should be discussed here. And essentially, this sounds like mob mentality. You know, this is the whole cancel culture. Again, you've got arguably the most popular kid and maybe entity in all of motocross and supercross. Yeah, that's kind of a gnarly claim to make, but especially at one of these amateur nationals, he's the most popular kid there, right? So is this a situation that you're too big to fail and you're going to get favoritism, right? To me, this kind of sounds like fascism. Yes, that's a harsh word, but, you know, I think it fits, okay? If you don't know what fascism is, it's a political system that's headed by a dictator, and all opposition is not permitted, right? Okay? You've got a massive following, okay? And these guys are going to be with Deegan, 1,000%. Again, this kid didn't do anything wrong. He just rode a motorcycle, but... could Star and them have maybe set him up to, hey, he's got so much pressure on him, we need to make sure that this kid wins? Like, I would not want to be in this kid's shoes, especially going pro, because if you don't win, it's a failure. And if you do win, sweet. Now you just got to do it again and again and again, right? This kid is probably going to get super burned out of everything and the fame. And who knows what this is doing psychologically to this family and everything, having this much attention on them all the time. And that's why these guys that get, you hear stories all the time. Nico Izzy, right? He's the one that just recently got out of prison, talking about as a young kid, got in trouble with drugs and things of that nature. Like, you need to have a good support system behind them. And I'm not saying that they don't. The Deegans, I'm sure, have a wonderful support system. They have a big family, but, you know, his daughter, she has a lot of problem on social media with stalkers and etc. Like, that's stuff that people don't understand. The hate emails, the comments, blah, 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 blah. This has been total damage control, this whole situation, from Star Yamaha and having this name, right? Because this name is going to get press, hence why I'm even talking about it. But the real person in here is Brennan Schofield. There should never once be somebody talk bad about this guy or his family, because truthfully, you know, who's to say you don't take that motorcycle? That's a good deal. If this guy had a Star bike, that is cheating. If he had unobtainium parts, that's still considered cheating. You know, we try to live in a world where cheating is not acceptable, but everyone does it. This is business. This is 101 business is what this is you have the PR come in and everybody try to damage control. And especially when you're at an event that is all about hating, you know, of course you're going to have people behind and giving the kid that finished 16th a hard time. That's not okay. It's a click following, and it's not okay. It's not. It's absolutely 1,000% not okay what happened allegedly down there at the ranch to Brennan. So let's just finish it up here.
Told me he called him to go over a race, you know, debrief, which is pretty common at these races. So anyway, Brennan goes over there and he is somewhat ambushed or bumps into Donnie Luch from Yamaha, who has...
All right, so Cooksey is again talking about Brennan being ambushed by Yamaha and them saying, hey, you should not do this. Don't do this. That's not okay. You're gonna, if you want to be in this sport, you don't do this to Deegan, which, right? It's cancel culture. If you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality. I think Cooks even goes as far as to say that they went after one of Brennan's sponsors, the whole Rally Motoplex there in Canada, and saying that they were going to lose their Yamaha franchise. Those franchises cost millions of dollars to have. I can't just open up a bike shop and say, hey, I want to sell Hondas. Well, in order to keep competition down, I've got to have like $2 million, $5 million, something to just be able to sell Hondas, right? That is a huge implication that they're potentially threatening with. And again, did this really happen? I don't know. If it did, that's a no-no. It's an absolute no-no.
Offered 2 motors, and he could ride Hayden's bike for his YouTube channel, which was the whole idea anyway, is after this race, if he has his bike and Hayden's bike and he goes out and does a test, that's good YouTube content. By the way, I'll put his YouTube in the bottom here.
Yeah, everybody, let's make sure we go follow Brennan and, see what this is going, and seeing if Star Yamaha, if it actually was 2 motors and to ride Hayden's bike, see him on his YouTube there. But I guess where I want to end it at is that sounds like bribery to me. All right, this kid is saying, hey, I want this motorcycle, and they're telling him, hey, we will give you 2 motorcycles, and you'll be able to ride Hayden's bike, aka you'll be one of the only people on the internet that could say they rode one of his bikes, and potentially get a lot more followers on social media and everything. To me, that sounds like bribery. Okay, don't do this. We're going to give this to you. Sounds like somebody should have just claimed his motorcycle thereafter. But again, after what went down, who would have? I know down there at Loretta, there's a lot of people that have deep pockets. Just go to the vet pits and ask one of those guys, hey, do you got 20 grand lying around so that we can go buy Hayden Deegan's bike? Yeah, they had the money, but because of everything that went down here, this is that whole cancel culture. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It rubs me the wrong way as well. But, I'm digressing. It, to me, 1,000% sounds like bribery. Why would you say, hey, drop it, and then we're going to give you stuff for it? To what this means is, hey, next time Hayden races an amateur event, since he's the most popular kid, let's just claim his motorcycle because Yamaha's going to bail him out and give you 2 motors that are probably 10 grand, 15 grand in total, right? Sounds like a good deal. All you have to do is just say, hey, threaten, I'm going to claim this motorcycle and I'm going to pay you 50% over what the value is. And then they return, say, no, please don't do this. Maybe next time say, hey, I want 3 motors. Give me 3 motors and a set of wheels. I'd like a set of wheels as well too. It sounds just like, lack of a better term, a shit show, right? But damn, really, I just want to go over the fact that Brennan was in no way at fault because, truthfully, let's be honest, right? If there's this much clout around a kid like Hayden, Hayden's not at fault here either, all right? This is the organization and just how things have been set up in the past where you should not have big factory teams having this much influence on the amateurs like that. Because if this happened once, that this happened before. Come on, let's be truthful. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, all right? You're slowly going to, if you get away with one thing, you're going to continue to do it. So allegedly, if this went down, it's really sad. But if I'm giving my opinion, to me, I think that bike was probably worth 50 to 70 grand. And, you don't want stuff getting out for other people to see what happened. Anyway, this is Johnny F. and Hopper. Until next time, keep it WFO. And Cooksey, proud of you, brother, for bringing these stories out here. Moto Media, right? Everybody has their own opinion, and that's what we need to do is collectively, we have power. It's not individually, because without the viewers, there is none of this, right? And that's why I think potentially there is a disconnect between MX Sports and potentially even into the professionals, because here's a kid that can bring a lot of money into the organizations, and therefore he's going to get special treatment. So, Deegans, use your power for good, and I'm just dragging on. Anyway, fun fact, I believe this happened 3 times. First time was Alessi. I was actually at Ponca when this happened. It was a 85 that I got lapped by. It was a super mini bike that Alessi got his bike claimed on. And then AC, I don't know when exactly that happened, but now Deegan